Spencer, we alluded to it and talked a little bit about Lamar Jackson's struggles in the last segment. But when you look at Lamar Jackson, and yeah, he hasn't played great, but he's also the reason that this team is 8-4. He's going to be 99.9% of the time he's the best player on the field. And the ball is in his hands every snap on offense. And he just makes some plays that the touchdown pass to Andrews. Got hit on his hand, chased, broke tackles, and somehow finds a way to throw a 30-some yard touchdown pass. How do you balance that if you are designing an offense for the Ravens, really?
It's been super volatile from Lamar Jackson. He's been taking a ton of sacks, and like we talked about in the previous segment, he just is in his own head right now. He was holding the ball too long and taking too many sacks. So he started trying to get the ball out quicker and found the other edge of that sword to be interceptions in that Cleveland game. And he's still able to make those spectacular plays, but he's been late a lot. He's not trusting reads. He's not trusting open receivers. And like Sam Darnold saw against the Patriots a couple years ago, he's seen a little bit of ghosts. Lamar Jackson said himself that he's playing like a rookie in a press conference last week. And so to that, you need to call plays like he's playing like a rookie. And like I mentioned in the last segment, you really want to make sure that you're giving him ample protection, bringing guys in motion, using a wide receiver to go chip after coming in motion, and just making sure that you're teeing off on those edge rushers in Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett, because Alejandro Villanueva and Tyree Phillips are outmanned, outgunned, and outclassed from a talent perspective, from a experience perspective, or not experience, from a athletic standpoint as well. So they're really down the creek without a paddle, so to speak. So they're going to need to do everything they can to aid those tackles, make Lamar Jackson confident that he's going to have time, and then he just needs to let it rip. He has to be the confident MVP caliber player that he is, and he's slumping right now. So you're going to have to help him get out of that slump, move the pocket a little bit, use some sprint outs and some max protection and things of that nature. And the Ravens also saw tempo really help them quite a few times this year, especially when they've been trailing and all these spectacular comebacks that they've made. Obviously, last week they lead a touchdown drive where Lamar Jackson marches the Ravens down the field and throws a touchdown, which could have been a game-tying touchdown. John Harbaugh goes for the throat and it ends up failing. So they need to mix in tempo as well and allow Lamar Jackson to play in rhythm and keep the defense running and see if he can't hurt them that way and force defenses into some blown coverages and see if Lamar Jackson can make plays. But right now, another aspect is there's not enough structure in the pass game. It's been well documented. Derek Clausen of Football Outsiders on footballoutsiders.com did an outstanding article which really highlights these option routes where guys like Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews are reading coverage and then trying to break that way, and they're not on the same page. So they end up running into each other too often, and there's not enough space. So ultimately, hasn't been successful. They need to have a more rigid structure in terms of which plays Greg Roman is calling. And I think that they need to kind of stick with some personnel groupings and let them have a series or have, 4 or 5 consecutive plays in order to establish that rhythm, because the offense has very little rhythm right now overall.